The sky outside the plane window seemed calm, shrouded in a soft light that slowly changed color as time went on. Inside the cabin, the atmosphere is warm and quiet, accompanied only by the sound of a stable aircraft engine. Among the dozens of passengers immersed in their respective activities, two figures sitting side by side seemed to be enjoying the ride in their own way. Jimin and Jungkook. The journey from Japan to Korea was different this time. It is not just a move from one country to another, but also an emotional journey full of meaning. Japan has witnessed a variety of moments that they go through, busy schedules, laughter in between activities, to small conversations that actually feel the most valuable. Jimin sat with his body slightly leaning back, his eyes occasionally staring out the window. The light from outside reflected gently on her face, creating shadows that made her expression look deeper. He looked calm, but there was something in his gaze, as if he were playing back all the memories that had just happened. Beside him, Jungkook held the earphones in his hand, but did not immediately put them on. He looked ahead, then occasionally glanced at Jimin. There was a comfortable silence between them, a silence that did not require many words. "Tired?" Jungkook asked quietly, his voice almost drowned out by the sound of the aircraft engine. Jimin smiled a little without taking his eyes off the window. A little but happy. The answer was simple, but enough to make Jungkook nod quietly. He understands. This journey may be physically exhausting, but their hearts feel full. The cabin lights are dimmed, creating a more intimate atmosphere. Some passengers began to fall asleep, while others enjoyed the entertainment on each other's screens. But for Jimin and Jungkook, this moment felt like a break from the outside world, a small space where they could truly be themselves. Jungkook finally plugged in the earphones, but the volume was low. Music is the background, not the focus. He leaned his head against the chair, then closed his eyes for a moment. But soon, he opened it again, as if not wanting to miss this moment. "Japan is passing fast," he said suddenly. Jimin nodded slowly. "It always is." The two fell silent again. But this time the silence was deeper. The plane continued to accelerate, breaking through a layer of clouds that looked like an endless white sea. Outside, the sky began to change, signaling that they were getting closer to the goal, Korea. Home. The word seems to be present without the need to say. Jimin finally took a deep breath, then closed his eyes for a moment. In silence, he felt a mixture of emotions, a sense of longing, relief, and even a slight reluctance to end this journey. Beside him, Jungkook watched silently. He didn't say anything, but his presence was enough to give a sense of calm. "After this, we are busy again," Jungkook said slowly. Jimin opened his eyes, then smiled faintly. "Yes, but it's okay." "Why?" Jimin turned his head, looking at Jungkook with a warm expression. "Because we already have time like this." The sentence hangs in the air, simple but full of meaning. Jungkook smiled, this time wider. He nodded, as if in complete agreement. The plane began to lower altitude. An announcement voice sounded, notifying that they were about to land. The cabin lights came back on, and the atmosphere slowly turned busier. But for Jimin and Jungkook, this moment felt like the last piece of something worthwhile. Jim looked back out the window. This time, the land began to be visible, the slowly clearer lines of cities, roads, and light. "We're almost there," he said slowly. Jungkook followed his gaze, then nodded. "Yes, we are going home." But the word home, this time feels deeper. It's not just about the place, it's about the feeling. When the plane's wheels finally hit the runway, there was a slight thump that brought them back to reality. This journey has truly come to an end. But oddly enough, there is no sense of loss. There is a sense of fullness. As if this trip had given them something they would continue to carry, even after they got off the plane. The seat belts were removed, the passengers began to stand up, and the atmosphere of the cabin was again crowded. Jungkook stood up first, picked up their bags, then turned to Jimin. "Yuck," he said briefly. Jimin nodded, then stood up. But before taking a step, he glanced once again towards the window, as if he wanted to capture this last moment in his memory. They walked together towards the exit, following the flow of passengers. The light from outside welcomed them, bright yet warm. When passing through the plane door, The Korean air feels different, fresher, more familiar. And that's where they realize something, that this journey may have been completed, but what they felt was not going to end just like that. Their steps continued, entering the busy airport. But in the midst of it all, one thing remains the same: their togetherness, without many words, without the need for explanation. Sometimes the most precious moments are in silence. And between the skies of Japan they've left behind and the land of Korea they now tread, Jimin and Jungkook find something simple yet meaningful, that in every journey, no matter how far it goes, the most important thing is not the end goal. Except for who's next to us when we get home. Their steps were getting further, away from the plane door, but the feeling left in the cabin seemed to still follow. Park Jimin walked a little slower, while Jungkook adjusted his pace without being asked. Small habits that have already formed unnoticed. The airport hallways were filled with bright lights and the resounding sound of footsteps. People pass by with their own goals, but for both of them, time seems to go a little slower. It was as if there was a pause left from the trip earlier, a small space that still kept calm before everything got busy again. "It's cold," Jungkook muttered as he rubbed his arm slowly. Jimin laughed a little. Korea is like that. The simple conversation was warm amid the piercing air. They kept walking until they reached the immigration area. Queues have already begun to form, but they do not look disturbed. It is precisely at this moment of waiting that they again find the same rhythm, quiet but comfortable. Jimin looked down for a moment, looked at the floor, then suddenly said, "Just now on the plane, it felt really calm." Jungkook turned his head, slightly surprised by the statement. "Yes, it's rare, right?" Jimin nodded. "That's why I like it." There was honesty in his tone. Not just about the trip, but about the moment where they can really take a break from all the demands. The queue moves slowly. Every little step brings them closer and closer to the exit, to the world that awaits with all its bustle. There were no signs of distress on their faces, on the contrary. There is an unusual calmness. After passing the inspection, they finally arrived at the baggage claim area. The sound of the conveyor belt wheels spinning becomes a constant background. Jungkook stood with his hands in his pockets, while Jimin stared at the rotating suitcases, searching for theirs. "If there's more time," Jungkook began, then paused. Jimin immediately looked up. "To Japan again?" Jungkook smiled faintly. "Or anywhere." Jimin smiled, this time wider. "The important thing is the same." The answer came quickly, without hesitation. Jungkook didn't reply with words. He nodded slowly, but his expression said a lot. The suitcases finally showed up. Jungkook immediately picks it up, while Jimin helps make sure everything is complete. Their movements are in harmony, without the need for much instruction, like two people who are already very used to working together. They walked towards the airport exit. The door automatically opens, and the outside air is instantly welcomed. It's colder, but it feels real. Jimin paused for a moment, staring at the Korean sky that was now completely above them, no longer seen from the plane window. "We're back," he said slowly. Jungkook stood beside him, following that direction of view. "Yes, but it feels different." Jimin nodded in agreement. There was no long explanation, but they both understood. This trip may be only a few hours, but its meaning is much longer than that. And when they finally step out together, entering a new day in Korea, one thing feels certain, that in the midst of all the schedules, travel, and a world that is constantly moving, they always have one moment to remember. A simple moment in the cabin, when everything is calm, and when togetherness becomes the most meaningful thing.